Eid al-Adha. Abstract. Eid al-Adha or Eid Qurban. Qurban Bayrami. Azerbaijani. Qurban Bayram. Tafaska Tamakurant. Berber languages. Amaza, also called the Festival of the Sacrifice, is the second of two Islamic holidays celebrated worldwide each year, the other being Eid al-Fitr, and considered the holier of the two. It honors the willingness of Abraham, to sacrifice his son as an act of obedience to God's command. But, before Ibrahim could sacrifice his son, God provided a lamb to sacrifice instead. In commemoration of this intervention, an animal, usually a sheep, is sacrificed ritually and divided into three parts. One share is given to the poor and needy, another is kept for home, and the third is given to relatives. In the Islamic lunar calendar, Eid al-Adha falls on the 10th day of Dhu al-Hijjah, and lasts for 5 days. In the international, Gregorian calendar, the dates vary from year to year, shifting approximately 11 days earlier each year. Other names. In languages other than Arabic, the name is often simply translated into the local language, such as English Feast of the Sacrifice, German Opferfest, Dutch Offerfeest, Romanian Sărbătoarea Sacrificiului, and Hungarian LDOs RTNNEP. In Spanish it is known as Fiesta del Cordero or Fiesta del Borrego, both meaning Festival of the Lamb. In Kurdish it is known as. It is also known as Eid Qurban in Persian-speaking countries such as Afghanistan and Iran. Qurban Bayram in Turkey, Qurban Bayram in Azerbaijan, in Bangladesh, as the Big Feast in the Maghreb, as Adul-adha, Hari Raya al-adha, Hari Raya Hadi or Hari Raya Qurban in Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore and the Philippines, as Goat Eid or Great Eid in India and Pakistan, Bakar Eid in Trinidad and Tobago, as Tabaski or Tabaski in the Gambia, Guinea, and Senegal, most probably borrowed from the Sura language and an ancient Sura religious festival, and as Odin Ali by the Yule people of Nigeria. The following names are used as other names of Eid al-Adha. The word means festival, celebration, feast day, or holiday. It itself is a triliteral root with associated root meanings of to go back, to rescind, to accrue, to be accustomed, habits, to repeat, to be experienced, appointed time or place, anniversary, feast day. Arthur Jeffrey contests this etymology, and believes the term to have been borrowed into Arabic from Syriac, or less likely Targumic Aramaic. The words and qnurbn are synonymous in meaning sacrifice, animal sacrifice, offering, or oblation. The first word comes from the triliteral root with associated meanings of immolate, offer up, sacrifice, victimize. No occurrence of this root with a meaning related to sacrifice occurs in the Quran, but in the Hadith literature, Arab Christians use the term to mean the Eucharistic host. The second word arrives from the triliteral root, qaraba, with associated meanings of closeness, proximity, to moderate, kinship, to hurry, to seek water sources, scabbard, sheath, small boat, sacrifice. Arthur Jeffrey recognizes the same Semitic root, but believes the sense of the term to have entered Arabic through Aramaic. Compare Hebrew Korban, Qorbn. Origin. One of the main trials of Ibrahim's life was to face the command of God by sacrificing his beloved son. In Islam, Ibrahim kept having dreams that he was sacrificing his son Ismail. Ibrahim knew that this was a command from God and he told his son, as stated in the Quran, "O son, I keep dreaming that I am slaughtering you." Ismail replied, "Father, do what you are ordered to do." Ibrahim prepared to submit to the will of God and prepared to slaughter his son as an act of faith and obedience to God. During this preparation, Shaitan, the devil, tempted Ibrahim and his family by trying to dissuade them from carrying out God's commandment, and Ibrahim drove Satan away by throwing pebbles at High Messiah in commemoration of their rejection of Satan. Stones are thrown at symbolic pillars, stoning of the devil during Hajj rites, acknowledging that Ibrahim was willing to sacrifice what is dear to him. God the Almighty honored both Ibrahim and Ismail. Gabriel, called Ibrahim, "O Ibrahim, you have fulfilled the revelations," and a ram from heaven was offered by Jibreel to Prophet Ibrahim to slaughter instead of Ismail. Muslims worldwide celebrate Eid al-Adha to commemorate both the devotion of Ibrahim and the survival of Ismail. This story is known as the ak-adha in Judaism, binding of Isaac, and originates in the Torah, the first book of Moses, Genesis, ch. 22. The Quran refers to the ak-adha as follows: 100. O my Lord, grant me a righteous son. Quote, 101. So we gave him the good news of a boy ready to suffer and forbear. 102. Then, when the son reached serious work with him, he said, O my son, I see in vision that I offer thee in sacrifice. Now see what is thy view. Quote, the son said, O my father, do as thou art commanded. Thou wilt find me, if Allah so wills, one practicing patience and constancy. Quote, 103. So when they had both submitted their wills to Allah, and he had laid him prostrate on his forehead for sacrifice. 104. We called out to him, O Ibrahim. 105. Thou hast already fulfilled the vision. Thus indeed do we reward those who do right. 106. For this was obviously a trial. 107. And we ransomed him with a momentous sacrifice. 108. And we left this blessing for him among generations to come in later times. 109. Peace and salutation to Abraham. Quote, 110. Thus indeed do we reward those who do right. 111. For he was one of our believing servants. 112. And we gave him the good news of Isaac, a prophet, one of the righteous. The word Eid appears once in Al-Ma'idah, the 5th surah of the Quran, with the meaning solemn festival. Purpose of sacrifice Qurbani in Eid al-Adha. The purpose of Qurbani or sacrifice in Eid al-Adha is not about shedding of blood just to satisfy Allah. It is about sacrificing something devotees love the most to show their devotion to Allah. It is also obligatory to share the meat of the sacrificed animal in 3 equivalent parts, for family, for relatives and friends, and for poor people. The celebration has a clear message of devotion, kindness and equality. It is said that the meat will not reach to Allah, nor will the blood, but what reaches him is the devotion of devotees. Eid prayers. Devotees offer the Eid al-Adha prayers at the mosque. The Eid al-Adha prayer is performed any time after the sun completely rises up to just before the entering of Zuhr time, on the 10th of Dhu al-Hijjah. In the event of a force majeure, e.g. natural disaster, the prayer may be delayed to the 11th of Dhu al-Hijjah and then to the 12th of Dhu al-Hijjah. Eid prayers must be offered in congregation. Participation of women in the prayer congregation varies from community to community. It consists of 2 rakats, units, with 7 takbirs in the first rak'ah and 5 takbirs in the second rak'ah. For Shia Muslims, Salat al-Eid differs from the 5 daily canonical prayers in that no adhan, call to prayer, or iqama, call, is pronounced for the 2 Eid prayers. The Salat, prayer, is then followed by the khutbah, or sermon, by the Imam at the conclusion of the prayers and sermon. Muslims embrace and exchange greetings with one another. Eid Mubarak, give gifts and visit one another. Many Muslims also take this opportunity to invite their more intelligent friends, neighbors, co-workers and classmates to their Eid festivities to better acquaint them about Islam and Muslim culture, traditions and practices. During Eid al-Adha, distributing meat amongst the people, chanting the takbir out loud before the Eid prayers on the first day and after prayers throughout the 3 days of Eid, are considered essential parts of this important Islamic festival. The takbir consists of Allahu Akbar, LLH, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi. Men, women, and children are expected to dress in their finest clothing to perform Eid prayer in a large congregation in an open waqf stopping field called Idgah or mosque. Affluent Muslims who can afford it sacrifice their best halal domestic animals as a symbol of Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his only son. The sacrificed animals, called ayah, known also by the Perso-Arabic term Qurbani, have to meet certain age and quality standards or else the animal is considered an unacceptable sacrifice. In Pakistan alone, nearly 10 million animals are slaughtered on Eid days, costing over $2 billion. The meat from the sacrificed animal is preferred to be divided into 3 parts. The family retains 1/3 of the share. Another third is given to relatives, friends, and neighbors, and the remaining third is given to the poorer and needy. Muslims wear their new or best clothes. Women cook special sweets, including marmol, filled shortbread cookies. They gather with family and friends. Eid al-Adha in the Gregorian calendar. While Eid al-Adha is always on the same day of the Islamic calendar, the date on the Gregorian calendar varies from year to year since the Islamic calendar is a lunar calendar and the Gregorian calendar is a solar calendar. The lunar calendar is approximately 11 days shorter than the solar calendar. Each year, Eid al-Adha, like other Islamic holidays, falls on one of about 2 to 4 different Gregorian dates in different parts of the world. Because the boundary of crescent visibility is different from the international dateline, the following list shows the official dates of Eid al-Adha for Saudi Arabia as announced by the Supreme Judicial Council. Future dates are estimated according to the al-Qurra calendar of Saudi Arabia. The al-Qurra is just a guide for planning purposes and not the absolute determinant or fixer of dates. Confirmations of actual dates by moon sighting are applied on the 29th day of the lunar month prior to Dhu al-Hijjah to announce the specific dates for both Hajj rituals and the subsequent Eid festival. The 3 days after the listed date are also part of the festival. The time before the listed date, the pilgrims visit the Mount Arafat and descend from it after sunrise of the listed day. In many countries, the start of any lunar Hijri month varies based on the observation of new moon by local religious authorities, so the exact day of celebration varies by locality. Notes: Allah is the greatest. Allah is the greatest. There is no God but Allah. Allah is greatest. Allah is greatest. And to Allah goes all praise. External links. Federal equals federal holidays. Abbreviation equals state territorial holidays. Religious equals religious holidays. Cultural equals holiday related to a specific racial, ethnic group or sexual minority. Week equals week-long holidays. Month equals month-long holidays. 36 equals Title 36 observances and ceremonies. Bold indicates major holidays commonly celebrated in the United States, which often represent the major celebrations of the month.